Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Slow Blink Anime channel. Today we're talking about all the differences from Attack on Titan Season 4, Episode 15, titled Soul Salvation, and the manga. This episode covers chapters 114 and 115, and there's some pretty interesting cuts in this one, guys, so let's get started. The anime closely follows the manga early on, and then we get to the point where Zeke is dropped off at his grandparents' house. There's some cut content of Zeke and his parents giving their goodbyes as he's dropped off. Next, Grandpa Yeager clarifies for us in the manga version that this is an everyday thing and he might just be exaggerating. Then Grisha explains the lie of where he's going at night. It's because he is the one in charge of recommending it for the health maintenance of the zone. Lastly, Grandpa Yeager tells Grisha to care about his own family and not only about the wellness of others. Moving on to where Grandpa Yeager is talking about the history of aliens, there is a line left out after he asks Zeke if this is the same his father taught him. Zeke adds to his response that father is saying the same things they are teaching at school. This tells the viewer that Grisha probably rehearsed this answer with Zeke beforehand. Moving on, the anime lays in further to the audience of Zeke's struggle with training and also the part of him wanting a real father-son bond with Grisha. In the manga, it's just a couple of panels with no dialogue, so I like the anime version better here. Next, after Zeke correctly finishes Grisha's sentence and gets praised, there is a line cut from Grisha of him telling Zeke that he's made one more step towards Eldia's restoration today. Lastly, a line left out from Dina is her telling them that it's time to go see Grandpa. After a pleasant meeting with Mr. Xaver, Zeke rushes home to tell his family. In the anime, Zeke appears to eavesdrop without his parents knowing he's there at all. In the manga though, Grisha does hear Zeke and tells him that he will listen to him later because he's doing a medical exam. So in the manga, they could have known that Zeke was outside the door listening. Next, in the scene where Zeke goes back to open training, Grisha puts his hands on his head in the manga to further emphasize his displeasure. Also, a panel is left out of the anime of Zeke crying as he watches his parents walk away from him. Afterwards, other than the great voice acting from Grisha's voice actor, a line was cut at the end of him saying that they need to come up with a new plan immediately. Moving on, we get to the scene where Zeke and Xaver are playing catch. A few lines were cut of Xaver and him explaining that the 9 Titans have existed for over 2,000 years and that it's a miracle that meat and bones can appear out of nowhere from an invisible path. Lastly, a quick panel is left out of Zeke smiling back after Mr. Xaver says that they are both good people. Zeke is mopping floors, and you can see in the manga that he is given a sense of happiness from Mr. Xaver as he looks to the light. He then remembers his parents' reaction to his training, and then his mood is shot down. This helps explain his mood change in the anime even more. Next, as he overhears the conversation about finding the restorationists, a line is left out saying that they meet every night somewhere in Liberio. This confirms to us what Grandpa Yeager said about it being an everyday thing. Next, as Zeke asks his parents to stop what they're doing, they explode back at him about how it's all for Eldians. After Faye is brought up in the anime, it seems like Zeke just accepts Grisha's words, but in the manga he replies back that Grandpa Yeager told him that if he didn't go outside the wall, then Zeke is cut off by Grisha, whose attitude changed, and he tells him that all he wanted to do was see the airship that day. The anime references this scene by showing us an airship at the beginning of the next scene when Zeke is talking to Mr. Xaver. Moving on, the anime cuts out Mr. Xaver finding Zeke as he is crying, which leads to him telling him about his parents. Next in the anime, Zeke starts to walk away before Mr. Xaver tells him to report his parents, but in the manga they are both sitting down when he brings it up. Then, some lines are left out from the manga. We learn that Zeke is 7 years old right now, and also Mr. Xaver implies that he will go with Zeke to turn in his parents to back him up, prove his claims, and then prove their loyalty. Lastly, 2 panels are cut from the anime version. We see that Mr. Xaver did go with Zeke, and that he is standing next to his grandparents. And also we missed this outside shot right before they go in to get Grisha and Dina. This scene followed the manga very closely, and I even think they did a better job with how they handled it. The next gen candidates weren't actually in the scene in the manga, but it was more like a thought, and it was implied that they were talking about them. In the scene where Zeke is talking to Mr. Xaver in secret, the only difference is that he is holding a baseball in the anime, but not in the manga version. Moving on, before he talks to Reiner and Bertolt in the anime, there are quite a few panels cut from the manga. There's a montage as Zeke talks about how Marley is becoming just like the old Eldian Empire and becoming addicted to the power of the Titans. It also shows him meeting Yelena and guiding her as she leads the restorationists. He goes on to say he will use the Titan powers to overthrow Marley, but they will not be consumed by it because they are not weak like the Titan wielders of the past. Next, it goes to where Zeke is talking to Reiner and Bertolt. Some dialogue is left out of Reiner saying that Eren wasn't sure how he obtained the powers as well. After this, some significant lines were cut from Zeke. He puts together that Grisha used the attack titan whose location was not known and then stole the founding titan from the royal family. He then had Eren eat him and end up touching Dina, who is a mindless titan, and activating the founding titan's power. Moving on, when Zeke went to meet Eren at the hospital, the anime doesn't include the flashback images of Grisha killing the royal family as Eren tells Zeke about the memories, but the manga does. The previous scene of Zeke talking to Eren and the other memories happen after the explosion in the manga, but in the anime it happens before the explosion. The only other thing that was different is that the anime showed us the horse catching fire, but this shot was not in the manga version. That's all the changes I could find for this episode, guys. Let me know if you noticed anything that I missed. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video and subscribe for more anime content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.